Hi, welcome to the AB Tech Network Security video series. This is a series of videos designed to educate the AB Tech faculty and anyone else who is interested about network security issues and the associated best practices. When people talk about hackers and cybercrime, in the absence of real-world examples, the only scenarios we have to refer to are from the movies, even though we know that's not how it plays out in the real world. We hear or read stories in the media about hacked email accounts or scams by fake Nigerian princes, but more often than not, they focus on sensationalism rather than useful information. We've heard of computer viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and maybe even rootkits, but what's the difference between them? You may have also heard the terms botnet or zombie computer thrown around as well. The purpose of this video is to explain what these things are and how they're related in order to paint a clearer real-world picture of the criminal hacker underground, the various types of cybercrime, and the motives of the perpetrators, so that you, the computer network user, can help all of us keep our networks free of viruses and malware. A quick note on the word cyber. Although the word is used all the time now, it's not clear what it really means or what exactly it has to do with computers. It comes from the word cybernetic and is used because cybernetics are cool, albeit a bit scary, whereas computers can be seen as a bit boring. So the word cyber gets tacked onto all kinds of things to make them sound alternately cool or scary in order for people to pay attention, or more importantly, to give them money or approve their budget request. Computer network attacks don't sound nearly as dangerous as a cyber war does. E-commerce sounds pretty boring, whereas Cyber Monday sounds like I'm getting a new laptop. You can even major in cybersecurity now, which sounds a lot more exciting than it probably is. Because this somewhat ridiculous and definitely overused prefix has become part of our modern vocabulary, I'll begrudgingly use it, mostly in the context of cybercrime or cybercriminals. Just keep in mind that if you ever get confused as to what the heck cyber something means, you can safely replace cyber with the word computer or computer network, and it will usually mean the same thing. It just won't sound as exciting. To get an understanding of computer security and cybercrime, it's best to begin by looking at what cybercriminals want. What are the reasons that people create viruses or hack into computer networks? Well, some people do it for attention. These are generally young people testing their powers, showing off for other hackers, and generally doing the computer equivalent of counting coup. While some of these attacks can be costly and cause significant downtime, they're usually not the worst offenders. Revenge can also be a motive. As far as disgruntled employees or people with personal vendettas go, it's rare that they have the determination or skills to do much damage, and they can be a lot easier to identify because they have a clear motive. Another reason is political action. There have been a lot of these kinds of attacks in the news the past couple years. If an organization engages in controversial actions, it's not unlikely that they will become a target at some point. While these kind of attacks can be devastating to an organization if they're successful, most companies in this category are well aware of this and take pretty strong measures to protect their systems. While the groups of people I just mentioned can cause significant downtime and economic damage, the group of people that cause the most damage are the ones who are in it for profit. To this kind of criminal, it's nothing personal or political. It just comes down to money. While the people running these scams may employ hackers, the big money schemes better fit the definition of organized crime. While we often think hackers look like this, the reality is they look a lot more like this. And the places they run out of look a lot more like a cheap telemarketing center than a teenage hacker's bedroom. So how does someone make money from a computer virus? Considering that the scams of modern cybercriminals are not really much different than their old-fashioned real-world counterparts, if you have a criminal mindset, there are endless ways to run a scam. But one of the most damaging and far-reaching ways people commit cybercrime is by creating and using botnets. I'll get to what a botnet is in just a minute. Right now I'm going to explain how a botnet is made. Botnets are created using computer viruses. actually by using computer viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and rootkits. The specific differences between these things really aren't very important to most users. They can be conveniently lumped together and called malware. And if something's a worm but you call it a virus, everyone still knows what you're talking about anyway. Viruses can certainly be annoying, and usually we notice them when our computer gets a bunch of pop-ups. You've probably seen the fake antivirus ads that say you have a virus, then ask you to download their antivirus software, or even give them your credit card number to buy their fake antivirus software. While these are an annoying and very visible aspect of cybercrime, the deeper threat more often than not remains unseen, and for that reason is far more insidious. You still shouldn't give your credit card number to get rid of the pop-ups, but for the real-world criminals, the personal information found on a computer, whether it's banking information or login and password information, while it might be the eventual target, it isn't their first priority. By the time someone is getting fake virus scans popping up on their computer, the criminals have already done a good portion of their work. At that point, they are likely just to be harvesting the results of their scam, which is already well underway. So if it isn't your bank account login they're after, what are cybercriminals after? The target of the most dangerous malware is control of your computer. You might be wondering why some super hacker would want access to a 10-year-old dying computer. Well, once again, it's nothing personal. This kind of malware doesn't care about your particular computer. Its purpose is to take control of as many computers as possible without being noticed. When this happens to your computer, it's then referred to as a zombie or a bot, short for robot. This zombie computer will now try to infect every other computer that it can. It may pass the virus along your local network, or it may harvest your email addresses and send itself to everyone in your address book, and to everyone in their address books, and so on, until the final goal is reached. A herd of zombies or bots that numbers in the tens or even hundreds of thousands. This is called a botnet. The person managing the botnet uses a tiny bit of computing power from each of the thousands of computers under their control, just enough to go unnoticed, and combines it with the others to make a very powerful and flexible tool. Botnets are what are used to send out the ridiculous amounts of spam on the internet. They can be used to harvest usernames, passwords, and credit card numbers. Botnets can be rented or sold outright to other criminals. Regardless of any further scams, just creating botnets is an industry in and of itself. If a botnet is big enough, it can be used for all of these things at the same time. So let's run through some typical examples of how a botnet is used. A criminal hires a hacker to write a virus, Trojan, or worm for him. Or perhaps he just goes online and buys one. Then he uses one or more vectors to infect computers with it. Vectors like clicking on a fake or invisible links, tricking people into downloading fun free programs like dancing koala bears for your desktop, or perhaps by redirecting people with malicious links and legitimate-looking email. One way or another, he infects and gains control of tens of thousands of computers. The person in charge of this botnet/zombie computer horde will designate some of the infected computers to be used as command and control servers. These are the computers used to control the botnet. When new computers become infected, they contact the command and control servers to check in and be counted. They also download updates to their malware, and maybe download some even more sophisticated or specific malware. At this point, with thousands of computers in communication with command and control servers, the botnet is ready to be used in any number of scams. They may infect some computers with fake antivirus ads on computers in the botnet, hoping to collect credit card numbers. Malware downloaded from the command and control servers will certainly continue to use your email contact list to infect other machines. The botnet may search its computers, just like a search engine, for credit card numbers, bank info, and login names and passwords. Cybercriminals aren't interested in any one person's credit card or bank logins. They sell this kind of information in lots of tens, hundreds or thousands to other criminals who use the information to make fake credit, debit, and phone cards for use in other scams. This is how our Nigerian princes get their lists of email addresses and send mass emails. They're not the hackers, they're just scam artists renting out spam services provided by the owners of botnets. The owners of a botnet will sell any and all of these services. Banking scams are typical as well. In a banking scam, a botnet is used to search for, say, Bank of America customers or any bank's customers. Then the botnet is used to send very official-looking email to all the bank's customers that tells them their account has been compromised or needs validation and that they need to log in to verify information or change their password. The fake email provides a link that directs them to a website which is an exact replica of the bank's website, which is hosted, once again, on other computers in the botnet. When people follow this link in the email and log into the fake website, the criminals now have their username and passwords. This same scam goes for eBay, phone cards, or any kind of accounts that have a cash balance or credit on them. You can see just how devious and evil this is. Not only do criminals often work far away to avoid being tracked down, they operate out of your home and your workplace using your equipment. And while some computers are reclaimed from the botnet when malware is discovered and removed, the botnet makes up for this by continually infecting new computers. Once established, a large botnet can take a very long time to get rid of. Until it's destroyed, it's essentially a semi-automated, regenerating crime machine that steals time and money from any organization and network it can reach. This kind of hacking goes way beyond trying to impress other hackers or breaking into someone's Facebook account. And it's much bigger than stealing someone's credit card or engaging in political vendettas. This is organized crime on a large scale, and it's one of the main reasons systems administrators work hard to keep networks free of viruses and other malware. FBI agent J. Keith Malarski conducted a 2-year investigation posing as a cybercriminal, running a website where criminals traded and sold credit card numbers, malware, and botnet services. He had this to say about the changing face of the hacking scene. The attackers have changed with the emergence of organized crime into cybercrime. It's all about the money now, and not just about how elite my hacking skills are. Profit is driving these groups. So you can see why following acceptable use policies and using good security practices on a computer network are important. The bottom line is that administrators aren't afraid of users downloading episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia on work computers because file sharing is illegal or because you're wasting time at work. What they're really afraid of is that in the process, users will unwittingly download malware, and shortly thereafter, some cybercriminal will be hosting a spoofed Wachovia bank site on one of their servers. It's not just individual computers that are at risk, it's the whole network. It helps to think of it like an infectious bug in the real world. Good sanitation practices are important not just to avoid getting sick yourself, but also to help keep it from spreading to others. I hope this presentation helped shed some light on how cybercriminals operate and provided some insight into the reasoning behind best practices regarding computer network security. If you enjoyed this, please watch some of our other videos in the series.